St. Lucia, and welcome to Newsmaker Live. It is a pleasure to have you this evening and to be in your company. For the next 90 minutes, we'll be speaking with St. Lucia's top cop, recently minted. The acting badge has been taken off, and now he's able to take on his responsibilities without that shadow hanging over him and all that acting label connected to him. It is my pleasure to welcome a good friend of mine, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Vernon Francois. Welcome, Chief.
Yes, it's my particular pleasure to be back on your program, and I wish all of St. Lucia a happy jazz weekend, because we're in the middle of Jazz Festival, and I wish that we continue in the spirit of enjoyment without getting into any particular issue of disturbance during the jazz period.
Well, you were looking particularly dapper on the weekend. I think some cameras caught you. You were at Fordor Jazz, and you seemed very relaxed, probably too relaxed for the Commissioner.
Yes, I was actually
Does that mean everything is going okay for jazz so far?
Yes, I was actually trying to be a normal citizen. I think it was a very enjoyable occasion for me, and basically also for the St. Lucian public, really. Like I indicated, the presence of the police in activities like that, really just to ensure that everything go on very well. But definitely people who are behaving themselves very well, and that's what I'm hoping will continue to happen for the rest of the jazz activities.
Well, let me join with the Commissioner in wishing St. Lucia a happy jazz festival as well. I have my questions and my complaints about the lineup, but hey, that's for another show. But we're talking about police. We're talking about your appointment. When you heard for the first time, when did you get the first hint that this would have taken place?
Well, all along I had no doubt that it was going to take place eventually, and I had no particular issues if, for example, it did not take place, because I've always maintained that I'm providing a service to the people of St. Lucia, and if at any point that a determination is made by the authorities that the service is no longer required, then so be it, really. But I guess the week leading up to the actual appointment, I think the appointment took effect from the 1st of May, but the week leading up to the appointment, you would have gotten information from various sources that was going to happen. But I still, basically, my view has always been really that it is a continuation for me, because I have been in this job for approaching 2 years now, and it really represents a continuation for me. That having been said, it's also an opportunity for me to recommit myself to ensuring that we maintain the peace and stability on St. Lucia, because I think I have received tremendous support both during my acting appointment and presently, and I think the commitment has to be to ensure that we satisfy the requirement of the St. Lucian public. Now,
I mean, many people around the place have been welcoming your appointment. I don't know, you like the first cop that so many people like. I don't know what you have done to the St. Lucian people that they like you so much as an individual, and say, oh, well, it was about time this happened. We're very happy that you have now been appointed to the post. How does that make you feel? I mean, when you get so much warmth from the public?
Obviously, it's a great sense of responsibility. I've always maintained that St. Lucians have been looking forward to a country that is safe and secure, that the vast majority of St. Lucians are against crime and criminality. And they've seen, since I've been on the job and with my leadership team, that we've made a serious effort to make a difference, that I think a few of the things that I have promised that I have delivered. I remember quite clearly when I came on the job, I spoke about boots on the streets, and I think that is something that we have been able to achieve, and a few other things, really. So you can see there's a greater visibility in policing. I also wanted my police officers to be proud to be police officers, that that policing is a profession, and when you put on the police uniform, there's a degree of pride, and I think there is still some work to be done, but we've been able to achieve that, and I think people are really seeing an effort is being made, and people want to be part of that effort.
Now, you keep on saying that it's just a continuation of what you have done before. You have been acting for almost 2 years. I think this month is actually 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, you would have been acting in that capacity. But surely, getting that validation from the state, from the Governor General, quote unquote, because you know it has to come with the Governor General's signature, that must have been a relief for you. I would imagine if I were in your position, there'd be a certain level of frustration that I would experience acting for 2 years and not hearing anything definitive on the appointment. Did you experience that at all? Or what kind of feelings did you have during that period?
Well, I never got to the point of frustration because I always maintain that what I have to show is my work. That's the only thing I could really control. In terms of being formally appointed, that was outside of my control. And and even if I was acting in the job, I still feel that I could have, you know, made a difference on St. Lucia, that I would come to work every day with the specific intention of, let me see what I can do to make a difference on St. Lucia. So there was absolutely no time for frustration. The only down part of it to me was at every point that it was coming to an end of an acting appointment, that you would have heard a lot of speculations on what is going to happen. And even presently I'm supposed to go off to England for 2 years, and you know, there's been a lot of speculation surrounding the job. So it kind of prevents us from properly moving forward with a degree of continuity, because obviously at each point you have to stop and start all over. But I think my officers, they've taken it well. They've still continued on doing their jobs, and I think that is what is important. Since the officers are showing a great deal of commitment, what is required of me is just to provide the leadership, and I think that has worked very well for us.
But I mean, don't you feel relieved, at least a little bit, that that part of it is gone? There'll be no more speculation every 6 months. At the end of every 6 months, there'll not be all those all this conjecture and, you know, all the probabilities, possibilities, what may happen and that kind of thing, as far as this very important position and this very important organization on the island is concerned.
Well, obviously there is a degree of relief, but to me what is most important to me is the sense that it's like a job I started 2 years ago, and I'm just continuing to try and build on what we started 2 years ago. So in terms of trying to look at ways and means of making a difference, I don't really want to look at it as a kind of a personal victory for me, because that's not what it is. It's really, like I said, a greater opportunity to be of service to St. Lucia. And I'm not sure that there's, well, obviously it's human nature to feel relieved and happy that you have, I suppose, reached the top of your profession. But it is still a lot of work. It's still a great responsibility. And I think particularly every day when you meet St. Lucians and they show the expressions of support, and you know, they are very confident in your ability to deliver, then it becomes a greater responsibility for you to ensure that you do not let these people down, because these are people who are kind of counting on you, and they are very happy that you are in the job. So I think that's basically how I'm looking at it, the sense of responsibility that's associated with it. I mean, at the moment, things are generally stable in the country, but we have to work towards keeping it that way. We have to work towards not be satisfied that things are stable, but for us to work towards making St. Lucia a better place, where at the end of the day, you know, the job of the police will be more often than not just help little old ladies cross the street, you know. So so we are working towards, you know, that. So there's no time to stop and say that we have arrived, because that is not the case. There is still a lot of work to be done, and I'm still asking my police officers. I know they are working very hard, particularly during the jazz period, but I'm still asking them to keep the faith, keep working, because there is still a lot of work to be done.
Now, I mean, you always convey that humility, you know, when you speak and about even being the top cop. You remain on an even keel most of the time. But let's get a little more personal. I mean, I'm sure your family you know, would have had certain emotions expressed. How did they take the news? Was your wife happy? Was she excited? Was she, or like, oh my goodness, what is he getting into? What was the reaction?
Well, I think they were very happy, and I wish to thank them for their support. My wife, definitely, she has been a pillar of strength really throughout. My two daughters and my two very cute granddaughters at the moment, who they are not really my granddaughters, they are also my daughters. You know, so, well, one son and one daughter.
Spoiling them rotten.
Well, one son and one daughter in terms of granddaughters, and they've really shown their support. They're happy for me, and I know they are there for me. So there is the side of work, which is work, but I'm also a very committed family person also, and I try not to mix the two really in terms of when it's work, but there's also a commitment towards family, and they have shown their support, and I think that part of it is working well. I think my mother also, she's also supporting me in a very tremendous way. My father actually died last year, but my mother is still around, and I think there's still a great degree of family support as far as that is concerned.
Now, I want to go into the death of your father and him not being there to see that thing happen. But we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about budget allocations for the police and other developments in the police force. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Newsmaker Live and Commissioner Verdun Francois right after these messages.